T2rx6 here, back for another Transformers related review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Maketoys or Maketoys, whichever you prefer, Battletanker. And I gotta say, this is one of the best boxes I've ever seen. Just the line artwork is it's really cool. I mean, all of it seems like it should just be framed somewhere. On the side you get a nice picture here, more artwork that's not found anywhere else. I really like that artwork. On the back you get to see some of the stuff that you can do with it. The main Hasbro figure is pretty blurred out though, with just some generic red and blue colors, so you can't really see anything. Opening it up like a book, inside you've got, again, that same artwork and everything all laid out really nice with the another piece of art in the back that I'll show you after. Now, if you have one of the first releases, and I don't know how many releases they're going to have it, you'll have this sticker which basically says inside you've got a bonus sword, so you can replace this floppy mess sword from Drift with something much nicer. But we'll get that into that in a second. So let's open this on up and let's take a look, guys. Alright, so before we get on to the main figure, inside the box is that really awesome piece of artwork here. I'd really love to know who drew that, because it's just really cool. Just wanted to show you guys that, and we'll get that out of the way. And probably put that as my title screen, so you've probably seen that by now. And my camera's focus is flipping out for some reason, as long as something's not in the shot. And this is the sword you get with Drift again, or for Drift. It's, you know, capable of being held in two hands. It's a nice firm plastic versus that flimsy one. Not too much detailing, just kind of the Matrix thing going on, and then the blade. And this blade, there's another one that comes with Battletanker for him. So we'll get there next, but I just kind of wanted to show you the sword with Drift. So let's start looking at the main toy. Okay, so this is Battletanker in the truck mode, and it's pretty good. It does peg into the sword of Optimus Prime, and you do have some motion. It is a little bit stiff because of the way this back part of the truck actually will get in contact with the trailer, so if you want to spin it like I do, it's gonna things are gonna interlock. If you really want to turn it, you should just pick it up and put it somewhere. It's okay. The trailer itself, let's focus on that. It does store every piece of his accessories. I do not particularly like the back here. This light up gimmick thing I always find gets in the way. It's okay, but again, it's just hanging off the back. The trailer itself looks pretty solid though. Now, this is the Hunt for the Decepticons, or Reveal the Shield, Reveal the Shield Optimus Prime. I don't have a Takara version, the United, but I do have one that's been painted to look like the Takara version. So this is another Reveal the Shield Prime painted with the black cab, and that really just looks a lot nicer in my opinion than the Reveal the Shield version. So if you have the United, it looks way better, that's for sure. Should we maybe get a Scourge repaint ever, it would look something like that, and the trailer doesn't look too bad considering it's not chromed out. So let's just put it on the United one, just because I like how the looks of that the best. Now, I've also gone ahead and pulled some other Hasbro and third-party trailers. Most notably, I've got the actual Scourge here, and you can just see the size difference. Obviously Scourge is a much bigger toy. You can see how it rates there. For another official Hasbro release here, I got the feels really small deluxe Optimus Prime with his trailer from the movie. So you can see he's longer, he's certainly not taller. And notably, this trailer feels a little bit big for this Optimus, in my opinion. I kind of like how it looks with the some of the Voyagers better. So there is an official. And then for another famous Optimus Prime trailer, here is the Fans Project trailer, the guys who started this whole trailer add-on kit revolution. So you can see there's a significant size difference, but again, deluxe Voyager. So okay, so we're gonna start with Optimus, and I'm not gonna show you the transformation from truck to this mode here. I'll show you the trailer, but I don't think I need to show you Optimus. Now, this is the one that's been painted, and I just have him for comparison, because when you get this guy, you actually need to do some modifications. You need to unscrew the one screw in the back here and replace his crotch. So as you can see, they are two different crotch pieces. And then you need to take his head and replace his head. Now, this is the second release of the head, which has a screw on the back that you can unscrew and put it together without risking breaking that really small ball joint on there. They do give you an addendum kit. I think most stores will give you the addendum kit too if you bought it and it broke, which gives you a replacement ball joint so you can drill that out, put the new ball joint in, and use this head. And then you also have, of course, have the other head, which they recommend, I believe, boiling for a minute, or at least putting in hot water. Put it in boiling water for a minute, and then putting it on so the plastic can move a little easier. I just use the addendum head. To get onto the trailer here, because that's going to make this Prime in its full glory here, you can pretty much take this and do away with it. Just put it someplace safe, because you really don't need it. The first thing you're going to do is pull off just pegs on the back this little light up pack, and this is what's going to give his sword its glowing look, which I don't particularly like. Lights up like that really makes me want to make a proton pack out of it, to be completely honest. And the one thing I really don't like about this is because you have the wire here, I feel like I'm always careful to try to figure out how to position this wire such that I'm not bending it at any of the ends too much, because the wire just feels like it's gonna break if I do something like that. And then you can wind it up and put it on this for storage, but then when you go and put it here, you find out that you're putting too much stress on the wire again, and I don't know, this piece just really gets in the way. I like what they were trying to do, but ultimately I would have been happy with just the handle like this. So we'll take that off. We will take this waist piece off here, and we might as well just start plugging things on the Prime. So you can take this waist, and all it does is slot right into the new crotch you installed here to give him an even bigger crotch. And then you can see that the hands are stored down at the bottom, and they just basically are holding on these little pegs in the back of the trailer. And what you're going to do is take your hands, and inside they have the peg. You're just going to make Optimus's original set of hands hold on to these, kind of like some, almost like those Hulk punching gloves. And oddly enough, one of my thumbs came off, and that's never happened to me before on this set. So it looks like I need to figure out how this goes back on, and it looks like the glue gave out. So it just kind of pegs in there. I'll glue that back in later. So now you got some big hands. Now you can come to the rest of the trailer, and you can open up the top like this, and you can split it in half. Now these front pieces, they come off and can be used to make like missile pods if you want. We'll just put them aside for now. Now we come to the main part of the trailer here, and you got everything opened up, and it stores all the accessories, so we might as well pull some of them out. This sword here just kind of pegs into the side. Pull that out. The hilt is at the top up here, stored, and you can just plug that in just like that, and that'll receive that light up thing I showed you. Or your other option is down here, you can pull out the sword that's like drifts, and you can plug that in like this. Of course, I just feel like the hilt on this is way too big for the sword, so I tend not to use the drift sword. I usually just use this one. Inside here, you've got the guns, and you can pull them out. Now, to get this thing on the guns, they have 2 tabs and the slots here, and you just kind of fold this 3mm clip down over it. And you notably can swivel these out if you wanted to give like an attack mode to the actual tanker, but I don't really like how that looks. So just take that, unpeg all this, and we'll take the other gun out. We'll unpeg that too. And then this part always makes me question because it always takes a try. So what you gotta do is you take your clip, and there's a little 3mm clip port here on the side of your Optimus, and you kinda clip this in place, if I can get it, and you take that and you rotate it around here, and I might be the wrong way. Let me try again with this one. And I'm not a huge fan of this set compared to like City Commander or Protector. It looks nice, but it's not as much fun to mess around with as those two, in my opinion. There we go. So you take this, and if you did it right, the little tab here that would tab into Optimus Prime should slide in to make a nice flush connector. And we'll do that. Now you got big arm there. And we'll do the same for this side. And again, if we did it right, that little tab should swing on in, and it did. Just adjust the hands. So now we got the big hands, and obviously we need some feet to go with him, otherwise he looks a little out of proportion. So you take these feet and they just kind of slide off, straight slide there, and these are probably the most transformation of the whole thing. You can kind of just get that out of the way for now, and you're gonna swing this up and this down, and then flip it around. Actually, do the same thing. Swing this up, swing this down, flip it, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your Prime and you're going to transform his feet back like this. So he's kind of got the stumpy little feet like that. And then what you'll do is find the correct side here. Obviously you gotta match your wheels to the correct side. And then this takes a little bit of messing with it to get it in properly. And this is, it's not as hard as City Commander, but it does take a little bit of work and you're gonna think you're doing it wrong. So once you actually get it in the front piece here, you just kind of push it down, and you're gonna hear that click, and it's gonna lock everything in place, and then you're gonna fold the little blue panel up, and it will peg into this part of his leg to give him a bigger leg. And again, just kind of get this to go in however you can, and then click it in place. And there you go. Now you got the significantly bigger Optimus. And for as fiddly as the set is to actually get into this this armor, basically, I do like how this looks. It's a really nice look. So let's bring in our stand-in again, and you can see just how much bigger he gets with this armor. And just for comparison, here is that Voyager Optimus Prime again, and you can see he's a lot more, he's still a little bit smaller then, but he's a lot more on scale size wise than he used to be, making this little shrimpy one a lot bigger. So I really like how that turns out, and it's a really nice set in that regard. Now you can take, of course, his guns, and he can hold his guns. I would hope he'd be able to hold his guns, otherwise what's the point of adding it as accessories? And they are pretty nice. They're nice double-barreled pistols, or not pistols, blasters, and I do like how they look. You can also take, like I said, this missile pods, and you can peg them right into the side here to even more beef him up. For this piece here, what you can do is, if you open up the back here, you'll see you have the two pegs there, and you can take this, and you see there's two mating peg type pieces here, and you can just kind of position it, and again, the electronics just feel like they get in the way, but you can position it in there and close this on up, and it'll hold that backpack. Oh, also notably, the instructions tell you to only close it like that. I don't really see too big of a difference whether you keep it open a little or just close it all the way. So once you have this lighted gimmick, you can of course put the little holster back here if you want. There we go. And this is capable of reaching around all the way to the front. Now you do need to, if you want him to hold the sword, you got to put the wire through first and then push it down. But then you can take his big sword and you can give him the awesome looking sword. Let's see if it lights up. I don't know if the light's really going to show too much here. And again, this backpack, I don't like it. Alright, sword time. So you can see, and it's more pink, but unfortunately, based on the LED being blue, the camera's only seeing it as blue. But it really only lights up that much. Let's try turning off the lights here, and let's see if that makes it any more visible. So you can see just barely that the sword gets some light. It's not bad, but it's certainly not great. And again, you could take this off and you could put the drift style sword on if you really wanted to, and just have the light up hilt, which honestly I think with the light up gimmick looks better that way. So personally, how I like to display this guy is kind of like this, with the two guns and the sword hanging off the back like that. And I think that is it's a cool display with the sword there. And you do have the backpack, the center part is on a rotation joint, so you can kind of position it however you want. I like the angle. So that is the Battletanker armor pieces. Of course, there is the extra trailer, and you can kind of make a base out of it. There's no official base. I don't find it all that convincing, so I don't really worry with it too much. But of course, there is the added extra mode of the base. So to do that, what we need to do is take this apart, and we'll remove these guns here, and we'll leave our Optimus just like that. Now you're going to come to this piece, and this was flipped around to the back. We're going to flip that to the front like this, and hopefully I can remember what I'm doing here. And you're going to take this, and inside there's a little arrow. You're going to, this is the hardest piece to work with of this whole trailer. You're just going to kind of rotate this around so that that arrow is pointing upwards. So you can flip everything like that. Now, what you're gonna do, and this is why it's kind of a pain, is you gotta mess with these pieces here so they kind of go off to the side, because these are gonna become big giant arm cannons, and you can slide the front pieces of the trailer like that. And we'll try this again with the other side. There we go. Kind of like that. And then we take, oops, and I'm a little off here, my arrow is not perfectly at the top. The end result of this is pretty cool, but the steps to get there aren't all that fun or interesting. So you take your prime here and you put that down, and it actually is going to, there's like little bars there, and you're gonna kind of put these in, and you have to kind of flex it a little, and that's gonna make that hold on tight. And the back of the trailer kind of acts a little bit like stabilizer to help hold them up. And then you've got these parts here which flip out on each side, and then you're gonna take your Optimus, you're gonna plug each of the trailer arm pieces. There goes that thumb again. There we go. And we'll put this thumb back on. This thumb has never been a problem until I'm doing the review, of course. If it's destined to go wrong, it'll go wrong on camera. There we go. And you can do whatever you want, however you want to position them. And then you take this final piece up here at the top, and there's the little screen that flips down, and it's supposed to go in front of Optimus's face. You can kind of do what you want with it, with angling the back piece. It's kind of hard to find a position that really looks terribly good, in my opinion. And you can take your two guns, and you can also plug them into the sides, just like that, to make them even more well armed. And it is a pretty cool mode once you find what you want to do with it, but again, it is very, very fiddly. So that's pretty much it for Battletanker here. There's not really too much more to say about him. He's neat, he's a cool set. I think if I were gonna say pick him up, I would say wait until you get him on a sale. If you can get him for like 20% off or something like that, that'd be a pretty good deal. Maybe like $80, $100. $100 just seems a little bit too high for me. Ultimately, I'm happy I have him. I think he's cool, but I don't know if I would justifiably feel he's worth $100. I guess your mileage may vary. So that's pretty much it for the review. I am going to try to show you guys how to get him back into trailer mode, because it's kind of a huge hassle. So if you want to stick around and watch that, you're certainly more than welcome to do so. Other than that, this is T2rx6. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, so if you're here and you haven't stopped the video by now, It's because you want to see how to get this guy back into trailer mode. Well, first we gotta get rid of all these accessories. So we're gonna put the sword hilt up here, and when it comes down to this part of the trailer, let's go ahead and we'll flip this around now and get these out of the way. And then we might as well go and do this while nothing is attached, and just make that arrow pointing back towards the front of the trailer. Now from here, before we put anything in, we kind of want to figure out how this trailer needs to be oriented so you can close it on up, and it's easiest to do that with nothing inside. So your connectors should kind of look like this inside when you're done, and again, it's a pain to get it put back properly. So you kind of fold them in, and you're going to do some test fits here and just see if it looks like it's going to close up right. So that looks like it's going to be pretty good. So now we're going to come inside here, and you're going to take one of these and put it this way, and the other one is going to go the other way, and I believe it's with the handle in for the one that goes back, handle out for the other. And again, we'll go ahead and we'll test fit this. If you did it right, then this should all fit together, because those two handles will now be out of the way of each other. So that was the correct way to do it. We can then slide these little gray pieces forward, and now we can start putting things away. Let's take this little front piece though and move that to the back. So we'll start with these wrist pieces here, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna find one of your guns, and there's two like barbs, and you'll see they kind of match up with what's on the gun, and you're just kind of gonna put it like that. It's gonna store in and fold your clip down. I'll do that again with this one. It's gonna go in, fold down, and then these are just gonna attach to the inside of the trailer. And if you did it wrong, you'll know. I did mine wrong. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, it's not that I did it wrong like this, it's that I was mounting it on the wrong side. You want this small piece at the top. I always forget how all this stuff stores in, but if you put it in correctly, you'll find that it'll all just fit in real nice in that corner there. So same goes for this other one. You can only put one on one side and one on the other, otherwise this whole assembly is not going to come together. So you'll have something like that. We can now take our swords here, and one of them, let's do the drift sword first. This one is pretty simple. You're just going to kind of put this inside the trailer, and there's some little clips here that are going to hold it in place in the back. This one, also pretty simple. We're going to take it, and there's that peg that sticks out. It's got a hole for it, and you're just going to kind of plug it on in there, and that's set. So your trailer should still be able to close up at this point. Now, what we're going to do, come back to our feet here, and you're going to fold this down, flip it around, and fold that up so that it closes that assembly, and just kind of flip the foot so it's just a little square like that. Flip this around, flip this down, flip this up, this new poster board, it's not cut level at the bottom. I'm very disappointed in that. I have to figure out a way to weigh it down. Anyway, so you got this type of thing going on, and you can see when you come to here that, let me see if I can see it here. You got this channel at the bottom here, and this is going to be hard to see, and it's going to slide in and peg onto this tab down there, and then there's also this tab on the side which is going to meet with this other channel. So you just kind of have to make sure that you have them all lined up, and then you just kind of push them on like that. And let me do that again here. It's very easy to miss one of the channels. I find that they don't necessarily hold that well, so you can definitely just miss the channel. Alright, so now we got everything like this, we can officially close up the front. And just remember what your the back end is supposed to look like here. These connectors, because these connectors are really, the first couple times you do it, are the most tricky to figure out. So once that's all together, this should all peg nicely, and then the feet actually will peg into little holes down here just to hold it all together a bit nicer. And you should have everything you need inside the trailer. It should be in the trailer by now. You don't want to have to split this back open. And you can just kind of push this down, and everything should fit together. When you split this back open, then you tend to have to mess with like the legs and all that stuff again. So we got the trailer back. You can now take this forward, and there's that slot there. There's two little tabs there, and everything should peg together pretty nicely. Sometimes you gotta mess around with moving the black piece on the top here just to find the appropriate hole. There you go. And it does kind of look like it's not right because you do have that hole in the back, but I promise you it's correct. So finally, well, not finally, almost finally, we can take these two front end pieces, peg them together, and then just kind of slot them into the tabs. I slot the tabs into the holes on that black piece here, and that's going to help provide a little more stability on the front of the cab here. Okay, so now that you've got this all together, we can focus on the fist. And what I find it easiest to do to figure out the right way is to attach the fists. You'll see they have the little tabs there. Attach them to this little back piece, because you're going to see how it's going to go on to our battle tanker. So now that you see how this is, you can kind of take it and slot your fist into the back holes here. That's going to fill in the back of the bumper basically. And you can push it all the way in. I choose not to. I just kind of leave it like that. I think it's far enough. And then your last piece is of course dealing with this thing. And just kind of put this together, and then peg this on the back. And there you go. You've got Battle Tanker transformed back into his vehicle mode, or its trailer mode, except for this little tragedy of a thing on the back that I really just can't stand this thing. I really don't like the backpack. I think it's the worst part of this whole trailer assembly, which is stinks. It ruins the whole thing, in my opinion. So I would like to have another one of these that I could just cut all the wires off of, and just, it'd be a lot easier to manage if I had the little LED stick, the backpack, and the clip, and none of the wire. That's where the problem lies. But there you go. if you guys stuck around, thanks. I hope you guys appreciated it, and if you do pick up a Battletanker, it makes it a little easier to get it into this tank mode. I know I had a lot of trouble just following the directions to get it here the first time. So anyway, this is T2rx6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I will see you next time.